Hi guys, it seems I cannot stay away from Medieval Dynasty. I'm just a fan of that game and there's always something new popping up for me that I find out or that I think I should tell you. So we are going to go on playing the game a bit, and besides I'm going to tell you some about game tricks, tips and tricks, but also a bit about myself because that kind of fits together today. So yeah, it's kind of also about why do people love medieval games at all. And of course, I have at first some hints for you that I will give you before I start talking about the other stuff. Then you can just, if you are not interested into the rest, you can just click on the X of the video and close it if you just want to have the hints. So for the hints, I gotta say that you don't need to buy or steal planks here for this big bucket to take a bath. You can also just go into the river and you will see that the river cleans you up as well. So this is only for comfy reason that you could have that. But if you just go in like she goes in here for fishing here, then you will be clean too. Like this is already enough. That's how far you need to go in only. So that's one of the things I did not mention yet, and I saw that I should maybe, because if you start out you might not want to steal at all, and by this is possible if you want to go flirting to clean yourself. So that was the first thing I saw. Then the second thing, which might be pretty important for you, is if you go to the map and you want to go to special location, for example to Honica now, then I just click one time on this, or double click on this town, and there's going to be a marker. They also show you down here. I didn't see that in the beginning, to be honest, because I'm always blind like a little chicken. This is possible to remove it also here with by F for me, then it's gone again. And if you want to place it somewhere else, you can of course place it back somewhere else. You will see it then on your radar, kind of. Wait, let me show you that with the other town, because then we will see it easier on the radar. Here you can see your horse on the radar. It's in the middle now. Do you know where your horse is then? And you will have that to the very left. Now is that 1008 meters. That is the marker you did put on the map. That means you can then follow the marker instead of just running through the wilds and orientating on the map, because I did that. I mostly orientated by the map just and went in the about direction that I wanted to go. Of course, if you go for a quest, then it is far easier to place the marker down. The next thing that might help you is if you're going through the wilds and you're scared and you maybe have not even taken care of having some spears to help yourself against the wolves, and some wolves are popping up somewhere. I am often a lazy but don't want to fight them, or I know that they can come in a group and sometimes they have 3 or 4 of them, and then it gets really hard to fight them. 1 is no problem, 2 are even okay, but as soon as it are 3, it already means trouble for me. So yeah, it depends on if your health is low, if your health is full, of course, also how many wolves you can handle. But I tend to run away then if I'm too lazy to fight, or if I see there are too many. There are 2 things that will help you if you're running away from them. The first thing is a mechanic that is in most games, that animals can just get stuck on tree stumps, rocks, especially when you run to the mountains on those rocks. If you go into that direction of something like that, they might kind of get stuck there and give up on you. The other thing what helps is also to go nearby deers, because if you go nearby deer, they might get distracted and maybe go starting hunting the deer instead of you. At least that was my impression. That works also in other games often, so it's nothing new, but yeah, you just need to remind that and remember that, and then you can use that as a little help, additional help to escape. Next thing is, I saw a lot of videos also about this game made by other guys, and I saw that a common mistake is, and I did that too by the way in the beginning with my first playthrough, is that people do build far too far away from the villages. I did, if you watch me now here, I did build practically, you can say, between two villages. They are here to this side is one, and to the other side of the river is one. My bridge is immediately here. I could of course also swim through the river, but it's super nice to have both villages close by, and there are also several traders in those villages, so that I am able to constantly sell to them. And in the later game, I'm talking about late game, maybe 7 years or something, 6 years, about that time, you will have so much productions, and you will have to get rid of a lot of food or other stuff that you produce. Then it might be very, very helpful to just run to one of those cities all the time and have it very nearby. Otherwise it will be super annoying if you encumber yourself and have to go long ways. So keep that in mind if you start out with the game. It might be seriously helpful for you to just not build too far away from any villages. The next thing is, if you're crafting stuff, and it does not really matter what you're crafting, it can be that you're crafting some stone weapons or whatever, or some meat in the fireplace, there's always the option when I will show you that in a case that you can really see it, that you can craft multiple things same time without having to watch it, without having to stay even in the screen. You can skip out of the screen, do something different if it gets too boring. And I thank you, developers. You are the very sweetest people that you did that for us, because honestly, I have that. Wait, I need sticks. I have that so often that I have to kind of craft, I don't know, 200 pieces of meat at the drying rack or at the cooking station. Oh, sorry, I was pressing the wrong key. And then I'm standing there for several minutes, and it gets really super boring then. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart for making this possible, that we can leave the screen for that time and just go to Google or to YouTube or whatever and spend the time somewhere else. So I'm going to show you this now. Here is the stone knife. If you watch it, exactly in the middle of the screen is written R, and that says you can craft multiple ones of those. So you just press R, then you get this little window, and then you can choose how many you want, and then you just let it run through. And while you do this, you can do something different on your computer, especially if you got a second screen. That's very helpful. Okay, so yeah, to skip out of the screen, of course, Shift and Tab same time, press that same time, then you should be able to go to the Steam overlay menu and out of the screen. So I would recommend to do this always if you have a lot of stuff to craft. Yeah, there are also some useful quests that give you technology points in the game. Mainly those are building tasks, like could you please chop down 20 trees? I want to expand my fields. Or could you please bring me a building hammer? I cannot craft tools anymore, I'm too old. Such quests are usually adding points to your technology points, so you might want to go out, search those quests and do them. Check on all the quests, take a look what they give you by make a quick save, press F5 for quick save, then accept the quest, take a look what it is and how many points, in which way they give you points, or if they don't give you points at all. Sometimes they just give you the upgrades in the yeah, how do you say, in the yeah, in the kingdom, kind of, that you get more liked in the kingdom. But sometimes the quests do give you seriously technology points, and that is really absolutely super helpful, because you have a hard time to reach the level to make a mine, for example. To get the mine, it takes 5,000 points or something to get there. Can take a look for you and show you, but I do believe it takes that long. And you wanna use every chance to get up here to the mine. This is the mine, and it takes 5,000 points, yeah. So in the beginning I did ignore the quests when I was busy with other stuff here in my village, and that is definitely a mistake. Don't do that. Please keep in mind that they give you some points if you're lucky, and if they are nearby, I would always check on them. Let me just eat something fast, because I don't want to starve here. Taking one of those and eating that fast. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about is, yeah, I told you that you have to always kill the bear when you want to go into the mine. That's not really true anymore. I don't know if they changed that, but in former days I had the bear very much closer to the mine, mostly too close to just sneak in. But nowadays the bear moves around pretty far in front of the mine, or maybe it was just in my game a bit stuck, but I saw the bears also being stuck at some places. So yeah, it might happen. However, my bear at my mine is a bit further away. I was lucky with that. So I'm just going to the mine. Don't take any pikes with me, no spears, no nothing. I just go and sneak there from the top of the mountain. I take a look where the bear is. And as soon as he's far enough away from the entrance, I just go down to the mine entrance and go in, and of course go mining. And then I wait overnight till the season is done, because I always go in the end of the season, as I already told you. So it's not needed to kill the bear all the time. So that much to the bear. And yeah, I think pretty much the last thing I would tell you is keep berries for quests, because you have also some quests where you are asked for food, and that's very helpful if you have some berries in your storage, because you are mainly asked for meat and for berries. Sometimes also for some bread, but you can buy that in the village. That's not a problem either. So keep those always for some quests. Don't eat them up, don't use them up, don't sell all of them, just keep a few. And yeah, the one thing that I was also not sure about, that I found out meanwhile by asking on the forum, is if I can sell my animals, because I had a problem with my male chickens. They were, the cocks, they were really doing some stupidly loud sound all the time, and I had 4 of them. They really annoyed me a bit, and I asked then on the forum what I could do about it, if I could sell them, and yes, it is possible to do that. You just go to the management tab by pressing E, then you go here up here on management, then you go to your animals, and here you get all your animals. And that is also how you put your extra stuff, or like horseshoes and extra bags on your horses, by opening up this tab and going on the animal, and then you can let yourself get shown details down here. You can click that, then you can put stuff on your horse, for example. Yeah, I can show you this. I would go here to the stable. Wait, no, that's not how it works, but it is how it works here in here. Then if you want to sell chickens, you have the possibility to double click here, and you see I'm already getting new male ones, and I will sell those also. You can just by pressing X and keeping the finger on X, you can mark them for sale. Then they get a little money back here, and at the next season, when the season changes, then they get sold. So that's pretty helpful, and I would always get rid of those that make too much noise, you know. Just nicer if you never stay close to your chicken coop. It's of course not needed to do this. So that were the tips and hints I still had for you, and I hope that helps you a bit. And now I wanted to talk a tiny bit about why people do love medieval games. And that's also something that is kind of connected to my own experience. The thing is, you will probably get to know some details now about me that might interest or not interest you too much, but I think it is probably also important not to hide stuff from you. If I'm doing here YouTube videos, I'm not doing this for professional reason, you know. So when I was growing up, I was raised in a quite wealthy family. I know both sides. I know I have made the experience to be wealthy. I made the experience to be poor by leaving this home, because my parents did expect me to marry rich, and I didn't want to do that, so I went away from there. I totally changed town, and later on I even changed countries. And back then, when I was young, I just decided that I'm not superficial enough to stay there, that I didn't want to live that kind of life that they expected me to live. So that was kind of one of the reasons why I left. And also the people I did get to know back then, when I was in that wealthy status, were just super superficial and were not really willing to spare, to be careful with resources. Like, they had no ecological feeling, they had no sense for not throwing stuff away. They were very sloppy with everything, and nothing was of any deeper interest for them. And I was kind of the opposite of that. I went then more to the countryside. I did really live very resourceful. I loved that. And I will just give you a simple example. I was not throwing parcel stems away when I did cut down parcel for cooking. I did put them in the freezer and used them later on for soup, because they still give you a tasty soup. And that was things I started to do by myself. I could not do any cooking when I left home. My parents did not really teach me anything. They were also not interested into it, and I started then to get me cooking books from flea markets and started to learn how to do my cooking. And I just handled it different, because I learned it by myself first of all, and I think it's also a matter of what kind of character you are, what you like and what not. It was not even so much the poorness or something that drove me to this. It was far more the fun of doing stuff with my own hands and finding my own solutions for things. And I'm like that. I'm still today in games. I told you I'm rarely ever doing tutorials. I'm trying my stuff out myself, and I think the attraction of medieval games has exactly that side. It is about living back in the countryside, doing your stuff with your own hands, doing a lot of crafting, maybe go fighting, go hunting, like in former times. And people cannot do that very well anymore in our days, you know. We got now the computers, we are living in towns, we are gathering there, and are kind of some are not even able to drive out with the car often to the countryside, and so they are kind of missing out on some. They are going to parks, of course, and they are going to the cinema and doing different stuff. I did that back then also in Munich when I lived there, to go to theater plays and enjoyed all those things too. But I really prefer to live on the countryside, and I really enjoyed it a lot to have animals around me. I had plenty of animals. I always rescued some cats and birds and all kinds, bunnies, even all kinds of stuff that I found. If they were injured, then I brought them home and did cure them and did put them back out to nature. Also, I didn't keep my cats inside of the house. They could be in the house, but they could also go out. I am one of those people that enjoy freedom, and I give freedom to everyone else too, because I think that's super important. And that kind of freedom is also in those medieval games. I think that's also probably a part why the developers, I would speculate that, do love the game, to develop the game also, because it's a lot about handcrafting. It's a lot about nature and living in the nature and being free, you know. So that part is kind of, yeah, something that people do start missing in our society. A lot of things are now crafted by computers or by machines, and there are still a few people that are doing handcrafted things, and they are special, you know, and that is probably what we love about that. And I think to be aware of that gives you the possibility to enjoy such games even more, and that's probably one of the things I do love about this game so much. So guys, I just wanted to give you a short impression also about who I am and what I think. And maybe you have your own thoughts. You might want to post it then in the comments if you're up for it. I am always happy to read something and get some feedback. Otherwise, I see you in the next one. Bye bye!